Remembering.
So we shall start again here. Welcome to Zenful Conversations. My name is ZenJen Brown, and I'm your host. I'm a teacher of presence, a lover of poetry, and a believer in the quiet power of the heart. Today's conversation is one that I very much have been looking forward to. It is a playful conversation indeed, but beneath the play, there's a fierce devotion to love in action. Please know that we will give all the contact information at the end of this conversation today. We'll also send it along with the replay link tomorrow. Today, we're joined by two remarkable women. Rosemerry Wahtola Trommer, a beautiful, brilliant, and ever so beloved poet extraordinaire, whose presence feels like a poem in itself. Rosemerry has been writing a daily poem since 2006 and is devoted to helping others explore creative practice as a path to presence, to healing and connection. Her words open doors. Her poems remind us what it means to be fully human. And the ever so delightful SHERRY RICHERT BELUL, who just might be the most delightful woman on this planet. SHERRY is the author of Say It Now, 33 Creative Ways to Say I Love You. She is a joy-sparkling happiness coach and the founder of Simply Celebrate, which is a movement devoted to helping people celebrate life and one another in magical ways that are deeply personal and wildly meaningful. She reminds us that celebration is not reserved for big moments. It's something we can practice every day. Rosemerry and SHERRY are co-creators of the project Secret Agents of Change. Their work invites us to live every day as kindness conspirators, not from the stage, but from the grocery line, the sidewalk, and the Post-it notes left behind. Through small, intentional acts of generosity and beauty, they remind us that kindness is not a performance, it's a way of being. We'll talk about what moves them and why it matters now more than ever to remember our shared humanity. So settle in, come as you are, and maybe by the end of this conversation, you'll be ready to say yes to your own secret mission. Rosemerry and SHERRY, we warmly welcome both of you to the Zenful Conversation studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, ZenJen. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Rosemerry. Thank you, ZenJen. Thank you, SHERRY. I just have to point out that I don't know if y'all saw, but as ZenJen was reading my bio, SHERRY types in the chat bar, Rosemerry, with like a 6 exclamation points and a heart. And that is the essence of SHERRY right there. Just like this, let's celebrate. Wow, she said Rosemary's name. It's just, I think that's kind of the essence of SHERRY Richert Belul right there. I love you. And I'm seeing so many secret agents and friends and new soon to be friends. It's really such a joy to be with you. And wow, yeah, Rosemerry, mwah, love you. Hey, let's just see, show of hands or wave. How many of you have been a secret agent at least once before? Look at all the hello, welcome back, secret agents. Some of you are being really modest because some of you didn't just wave, and I happen to know you have been secret agents. So, uh, just saying, I have ways of knowing. Well, I think what we're going to do is start this program with SHERRY and I just talking a little bit about the origin of secret agents. And if you've been in a secret agent mission, you know this story well, but we have extra to amplify the story today. We'll talk a little bit about some of our past missions. We're going to ask some of the people who we know have been on our missions to jump in and talk a little bit about it too. Of course, we're always open to questions. If you have them, you can raise your hand using the reactions bar at the bottom or put your question in the chat bar. I'll try and keep my eye on that too. SHERRY,
you want to jump in and say what the heck we're doing?
Well, I do love that it has become a ritual that whenever we do a secret agent mission, because we always have new people, thank goodness, I love that. But Rosemary and I tell the story, and it's become sort of like, to me, it's just almost like it's almost like a poem in itself or a prayer to repeat it over and over because it brings me back to that exact moment. So what happened was our origin roots were that I was practicing an abundance practice that involved sending a note and some money every day for a month to people who had impacted my life. This was something I was in a group and I sort of made up this assignment for myself. And I didn't have a lot of money. I was actually trying to bring in some money, but I tried to do, I was sending $5 a day to people who had touched my life who didn't know it. And so I had been getting Rosemary's poems, as many of you do. And holy cow, what a gift. Like, can we just for a moment just really think about every day, every day to receive these beautiful poems. They really set the stage for me for my day. And so I sent Rosemary a $5 bill and said truthfully, like, I hope that that was just a token and that so much more abundance would come to her. And wow, what beauty and truth and goodness she was putting out in the world.
Okay, and here's the surprise is that I actually have a picture of the card that she sent me, plus this little sweet explanation of her mission that she was doing. She didn't even know to call it a mission yet at that point. That was pre-mission language. And the actual $5 bill, here it is, friends. It's coming. Oh, it says you aren't going to be able to, yeah, you won't be able to talk anymore, Sherry, while I'm sharing my screen. I'm sorry about that. But here we go. And can you see it? There it is. The letter itself, I'm taking a class in which every day we send some money to someone who has brought abundance into our lives. Today, I choose you. Thank you for all the gifts you have given me, knowingly or unknowingly. I appreciate you. May this small token be a reminder that abundance can come unexpectedly around any corner at any time. And if any of you have ever gotten a letter from Sherry Riker Blue in the mail before, you will notice her handwriting right there in the background. She's every now and then I think she tries to send me something anonymously, but that will never ever work because do I know her handwriting? Okay, well, I just thought it'd be fun to see the actual letter that I got in the mail. And also, I think it's kind of sweet to notice about Sherry that this is the kind of thing that she just does. And to have that little card, which now she calls a printable. If you're a secret agent, you know that we often offer you printables that you can just use and reuse and give out to everybody. So I think that's what I might call that card with that cute little heart flower graphic on it.
I can't believe you found that. You get extra points today, Rosemary.
Well, not only that, here's the next part of the story. So Sherry sends me that, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, who is this Sherry Riker Blue? Not that I could have pronounced your name at the time. I couldn't have. But I thought, gosh, this fabulous stranger just extended herself to me in the most loving, honoring way. I felt seen, I felt blessed. And so I thought, I'm going to write a poem about that. And here, friends, is the poem. It's called
Oh boy.
Secret Agents for Sherry Reichert Bellew. And actually, after I read it, I'll put it in the chat bar too, so you can read it on your own and cut and paste it if you want. Secret Agents for Sherry Reichert Bellew. With a love stamp, the woman I've never met mailed me $5 to be a reminder that abundance can come unexpectedly, she wrote. And sitting with her letter in my lap, I thought of last night's snow. 5 white inches that fell after midnight and softened the whole hard world. And I thought of the orchid on my mantle that sprouted a new stem of purple buds, even as the other stem continued to bloom. And I thought of my office mate bringing in 9 tins of exotic teas to share, and my daughter sending me a text to say she loved me so much. And I thought of a woman in a town 1,000 miles away, a woman I have never met who thought, I think I'll send $5 to someone who brought abundance into my life. How simple it is to manifest unforeseen joy. How clear the invitation to extend gratitude, to spread goodwill, to remind each other how the world will offer itself, will open and open and open, how we ourselves are the agents of the world. So the poem was called Secret Agents, and I put it on my blog and sent it out to people. And I think I even put it on Facebook with the picture that I showed you of Sherry's letter and the $5. And then what happened, Sherry?
Oh, I really literally got little tears in my eyes listening to you read
Oh,
that.
I almost bawled. It was
Oh,
everything I could do to hold it together, right?
oh, man. You know, I don't know if anyone's ever told you, but you have a way with words, sweetheart. That Okay, so I think I did see it posted both on your blog and in Facebook. And I noticed all of these wonderful comments of people saying, I want to be a secret agent. I want to be a secret agent. And the idea just dropped in and I was scared out of my mind because I remember, I mean, I didn't know Rosemary and she's this rock star to me, but I reached out to her to say, look, people want to be secret agents. Do you think we could create something and do this together?
And I said,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, that's exactly how that happened. Well, we got
Let me butt
together.
in here again. When was that again? What time frame are we talking?
That was January of 2019.
2019.
I
Okay,
looked it
thank you.
up, Sherry.
I'm glad.
Yeah, January of 2019. And Sherry's and I started talking on the phone, and I found, friends, our original notes about what would be our goal for this group. So it's very short. Our goal to create a kindness movement. It's fun. A community like a virtual coffee clutch. Resounding message is I feel alone and I want to connect more on an authentic basis, feel connected to a community of loving people. This project is a way to help the people and change the lives of the people who choose to participate. And people need that sense of feeling their own love. So those were obviously just notes, but that's what we said. That was our original document about what are we really doing here?
I love that you found those, Rosemary, because it's taking me back, you know, of course, you know, and I'm grateful for all of you for going on this little journey with us because it is important to revisit the origin of things, isn't it? Like to remember that it's just as much, and of course we all know this, but it's beautiful to be reminded that any sort of kindness that we offer the world is always ours first. And as a group, I love that so much about the secret agents. Like, if from the moment that Rosemary and I have our first call to talk about what are we going to do, it's so joyful and it's so abundant, which, you know, I love that. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking of now is Sherry and I actually, although it never happened, but we created a book proposal to create a book of secret agents of change. And I remember in that, you know, we had to say, why this book? Why now? And I'm sure this was Sherry's line. Don't be fooled by how much fun being a secret agent is. And I think that was always kind of at the heart of it. But then the follow-up line is, this is not a frivolous book. Kindness is not a luxury. We are not inviting your flippant participation. These missions will change you, and these missions will change the lives of the people who you may or may not ever meet. So I think just really thinking about how do we create a foundation of love and generosity in a world that is crying out for goodness and connection, and to trust that there is a spirit of open-heartedness that we share.
Right. And you know, I too, I love that. We were chatting for just a few moments before you all came on. that many of you know my own story, and joy is a practice for me. You know, playfulness is a practice, celebration is a practice. These things don't come naturally to me. I'm much more like someone who crawls away into the corner in the dark. But and I think that's why I feel like it's not frivolous, right? I feel like the play part is super important because it's ours to practice each time, every mission we get to. I see Patty Joy, I have to tell you, I love you. You've been just nodding your beautiful, beautiful head this whole time. I love it. When we open things up, I want to hear, because I know you've got something to say about this, right? That it's really important that we practice play in the midst of all of this. And Rosemerry, I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I know on your wonderful podcast, that comes up a lot. Play.
About play. I mean, I think this is how we stay engaged and vital, you know, kind of revitalized by it. But by play, which can mean something silly, right? I mean, of course, we call it secret agents of change, and we have all our little silly, you know, your mission, should you choose to accept it, you know, your secret double agent mission is, you know, so we do have all the language, which I think makes it fun. I think it's what pulls people in the first place. Maybe we can hear from our secret agents about that. I think there's even the fun and playfulness of giving. I mean, just the joy of, well, what if I did it this way? What if we do it this way? So it can be that sweet, creative, juicy, connective tissue. Uh, yeah, which doesn't mean it isn't very serious. Just like you said, it doesn't mean there's not a whole lot at stake.
Right. Right. And I also, what you just brought up for me is one of my favorite parts of doing these missions is that, so for people who haven't participated, the way that we do them is Rosemary and I get on the phone and life swoops in almost immediately to bring us whatever ideas next. I love that part. We really are given an abundance from the universe with this. When we schedule a Zoom call on the day of our mission reveal, we get all of you beautiful people, so many of you who we see right now, who come on, and Rosemary will read her poem that we've chosen, and I give a prompt. And then it's just this beautiful, blooming, blossoming, creative brainstorm as people in the moment, like, oh, this came in to me. Oh, I thought of this. Oh, I think I might do this. And I love that. It's a shared creative process. I mean, it's a shared emerging form, to take the name of your podcast, which I love so much. And I love that the creativity, even when the topics have been hard, which we have had some hard missions, emotionally, difficult ones. But even then, there's that angle of creativity and play.
I'm just thinking it'd be fun to find one of our missions and show people what they might be like. For instance, um, let's see. Operation Love 2, Operation Ridiculous Courage, Operation Thank You, Operation All Souls, Operation Color of the World. Any requests? Share Operation. Anyone?
I loved all of them. Um,
Wow.
Color of the World popped in my mind today. I'm not sure why, but maybe you could start there.
All right, here's Operation Color of the World. Um, I'll read the poem and then here I'll put it all in the chat bar. But Sherry, of course, you have to read the mission itself. Which I don't think you're able to do if I'm screen sharing. So first, I'll just read the poem. And the poem is called Another Reason to Marvel. The average color of the universe is not blue, as they thought, but beige. Or so they say after studying 200,000 galaxies, a fact that made me stand longer today beside this tulip as it shamelessly splays its statistically unlikely yellow and red, a living manual for possibility. in all of deep space, the chance to show up in this garden.
Mm.
That was the poem, which I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat bar, and then I'll put in the mission that you can read. I don't, it might be too long. I might have to do it in 2 parts. Let's see.
Thank you for reading that. You guys, isn't it just amazing? Part of the reason I just like doing these emissions is that I get to hear Rosemary read her poetry. It's like cheating, right? To get to be around her and to hear her beautiful poetry.
All right, sweetheart, there it is. It's in the chat bar for you to read the missions.
All right. Oh, a beige world. Oh, heavens. Life's too short to live in shades of beige. Not only that, but secret agents, do you hear all of the black and white language? The division that happens when we choose sides instead of lining up together beneath the rainbow. The world needs color, the world needs light, the world needs you to be the delight. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to color the world in whatever way you choose. Here are a few ideas to get you started. Use the PDF we are sending you to make copies and leave colorful, happy, anonymous note. Thank you for making the world more colorful. Thank you for your green thumb. It's okay to be blue. I'm going to jump in here right now because one of my favorite ways that secret agents do these missions just came up with, thank you for your green thumb. It reminded me, is to leave notes on neighbors' doorsteps or in their, I know we're not supposed to tamper with the mail, but you could leave it in their mailbox. And to thank their neighbors for something beautiful that is outside of their home that they've obviously spent time doing. Their flowers, their gardens, their sculptures in their yards, their beautiful lawn, whatever. So I love that. Draw with colored chalk on the sidewalk or leave packages of chalk for others to find at the park. Hang a string of colored hearts in your window. Make a box of sunshine for someone filled with lemons. So I think we'll pause it there. People can read the rest of them. But I think the reason that I really particularly loved that mission, as you heard, and still happening right now, right? The black and whiteness going on. I think that the world has become, in the way that people are taking sides, finding ways to divide ourselves. And I just feel like color is a way that we can gift one another with that kind of beauty and surprise and delight.
Yeah, let me jump in for a second here because that was one of the questions I had. Daunted by a task that might feel too big. We may think that it's too big for us to make a difference. So I wanted to have you touch on that it may not mean anything. And of course, it brought to get to the mind one of Because, Rosemary's poem, Because, daunted by a task too big. But what do you say to people who think that my little tiny 2 cents is not going to make a difference in this massive amount of energy?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. And I think it speaks to the heart of one of our major tenets, which I think shockingly we haven't talked about yet, which is it's all done anonymously. And part of the joy of it being done anonymously, even if you can't say the word. And Sherry, maybe you can speak to it too, but this thought then that when we don't know this person who's done something nice for us, suddenly it feels like it could be anyone who's done this nice thing for us. And it creates a little shift in the way that we see the world. Right, even in the poem that I wrote about when Sherry originally, some stranger, she hadn't signed her name, but she was some stranger who I did not know, who did something kind. And it made me think, wow, strangers are capable of such goodness. Take away even the name then and think it could be anyone. It could be anyone who just left that lovely bowl of lemons on my front door. It could be anyone who just sent me that note about it's okay to be blue. It could be anyone who sent me this or did this nice thing, who paid my parking meter for me, or whatever the thing is that they've done. it kind of shifts our, I'm talking about the receiver's point of view, it shifts the receiver's point of view to one of abundance, a world of abundance, a world where kindness is possible beyond our expectation.
Ah, Rosemary, yes, that's exactly right. So from the receiver's point of view, that's exactly it. That suddenly the receiver hopefully is looking around at everyone thinking, oh, it could have been them who was kind. And from the giver's perspective, it's always such a beautiful thing to offer kindness, offer joy, offer generosity. And there's, I think, in my own experience, a special kind of joy when there's no way I can get anything back. There's no sense of the person knowing. And so it's so freeing. And there's just an added layer of delight. Those of you who have done our missions or who've done any anonymous mission of kindness, you know it. That there's just this, like you're twinkling all day long afterward, simply from doing something for the pure delight of it, of giving.
Yeah, I would say even for sure, there's got to be some people on this call that might have been called too much. And this, doing it anonymously, lets you blow it out into proportion as kind as you want to be without being too kind or too much in some opinions. You could be ridiculously kind and nobody has to know it's you. So you're safe.
That's a great point. This may be
It
actually a great.
is.
I wonder if anybody, is there anybody on here who has been on a secret agent mission that would like to talk a little bit about maybe the secretive aspect of it and how that's felt to you as a secret agent? You'd have to, we may not see if you're waving your hand, so you would have to use the reactions bar at the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom down there, the raise the hand icon there will let us know that you are raising your hand.
Hey, there's our
Okay.
Paula Lep, do 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 do.
Thanks, Paula.
Sure. One of the things for me that makes the secret aspect of it so powerful and important is that because it's anonymous, the receiver doesn't have any idea what the giver's motivation is, right? It's just a gift. So they are not trying to figure out, is this performative? Are they trying to get something out of me? What's their motive? Why are they doing this? There's none of that there. There's none of that. There's not, I mean, we all know people that have, well, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to do this kind thing so everyone can see how kind and wonderful I am. Okay, that's not really true kindness. We all know that. So that eliminates any possibility that the receiver might think that that's the reason that they're receiving this kindness. Mm-hmm. And I love that part of it. I love that the receiver gets this gift, and it is simply that. It is a gift, and there's no motivation. There's no strings attached. There's nothing expected of them. It's just all about them getting this gift. And I think that's my favorite part about the secret aspect of it.
Thank you, Paula,
Yeah.
for jumping in.
That
is
beautiful.
great.
You know, I think for me, I was just going to say, I'm homebound. And that doesn't mean, I mean, I'm able to go out, but I can leave kindness everywhere I go. My family's away, so I'm home for several days, but I love the gifts that I can present just being home. If I do go to the doctor, I can leave a sticky note on the counter. I love sticky notes. And you've given me the opportunity to give when I didn't know I could give. I mean, right here is just me and she's in her kennel now, Phoebe. But it's a gift that doesn't require anything, and it feels so good. It feeds my soul. Thank you both.
Patty, thank you also for your beautiful energy, which, by the way, in case anyone didn't know it, is one of the best gifts we can give.
Yeah.
Right?
But doing these acts of kindness does change our vibration and allows us to be happier. And even back on that line of people maybe thinking you're too nice or too this or too that, you can actually do something for somebody that you want to do without them thinking that you're looking for something in return. So it really releases a lot of the drama just doing it anonymously, which is I practice a lot of the kindness, but I will say that I don't think I've done too much anonymously. So I think I can practice that little area.
Well, it is fun. And I think that it, going back to the play of it, I mean, it can be really tricky sometimes to figure out how you're going to get in and get out before they see you, or how, like I think, and sometimes the reports back on that are really fun, also, which people report back in our Facebook group, which we absolutely love. It's like just getting it's what you wish the news would be every day. And there it is, right? It's just kindness after kindness after kindness, people all excited. And sometimes there's photographs of the pictures that someone sent out, or the card that they made, or the flowers that they put on somebody. And it's just so sweet to see what it's like, and then we all receive the goodness of that. Hey, Maggie.
What? Oh, Maggie.
Hi, this is my first time here. I'm excited about it. I love the concept. But what is so strange in my life right now is that probably for the last 2 weeks, almost every day, I am being bombarded by the spirits and nature and everything. This very act of, or this very concept of, you don't need to do something huge. It can be little tiny steps, because I sometimes tend to hold myself in because I can't do a big deal kind of thing. But training myself to do little stuff. Now, I love the anonymous thing too. I haven't done too much of that, but yet. And I love the little secret stuff. So I'm going to give it a try. But this bombardment with being kind is just, it's magic. It is absolutely magic, and it's contagious. And I think, being personally involved with someone, looking at their face and saying something really kind and wonderful, or what I appreciate, is also important. It doesn't take away from the anonymous thing, but the reactions I'm getting from people that I don't even know and will never see again, maybe, like walking on the beach, they are so grateful. I mean, people are starved, I think, for some kind of connection. And anonymously is one way to do it, that's for sure. But also face to face has its own beauty. And I want to celebrate that too. Thank you.
Oh, you're so right. Of course, face to face matters. Also, we're not against people being kind face to face. Let's be honest. And in fact, one of my favorite stories from Secret Agents of Change is a story in which one of the he happens to be here right now. It's Peter Mortensen. Who, Peter, would you just share about your trash can mission?
Please.
Thank you, Maggie.
One of the things you learn every time I do this is I don't know how to use the computer. Don't know how to wave, don't know how to unmute myself, don't know how to sign up. I'm grateful to be here. So, trash can mission. I don't know if that was the very first thing I did, but I can't even remember what the mission was, but I was just trying to find something to do. People who provide services, people who normally don't get thanked for anything. And it just occurred to me, nobody ever thanks the trash man. So I got some gift cards to local fast food restaurants. I put it out there with a little thank you note. Thank you. Now, it was not really secret because I think they knew it was me because I wrote our name on it. But you guys hear me, by the way? Everybody can hear me. Sorry.
Yes.
So you just put it on the trash can, and then I waited and watched through the window and took a little video, and it was a lot of fun. And I've done it ever since then because it was so fun. Probably 3 or 4 times a year. Matter of fact, I think tomorrow's trash day. I might have to do it tomorrow just in commemoration of all the wonderful people here. So that's always been a fun thing about this group. I was going to talk about the whole secret part of this too, though. One of the things I would love to hear from this group at some point is the rest of the stories. Has anybody had this come back to them where somebody mentioned, hey, like this crazy thing happened to me. I got this letter, I got this note, I saw this chalk drawing or this card or this poem, whatever it is. I would love to hear those. I'll maybe share 1 or 2 with you guys. There was a mission where we thought about sending, letters or notes to people anonymously, and then came a whole thing. How do you do that without them seeing the postmark or see where it's from, etc. One of the ladies I wrote to was just somebody who had just been doing some great things in our neighborhood and around. And I wrote this, and it was completely anonymous. I used her own address as a return address, and she still doesn't know I sent it. I sent it to a number of people. I sent these letters, but it wasn't about 6 months later. Her teenage daughter was diagnosed with leukemia and had to go to the hospital for 6 months. I had bone marrow transplant, and she was very touch and go. And I was, I haven't really talked to her about it. I saw her. Okay, good news is, daughter's out of the hospital. I was walking the other day, and she was there. The daughter was outside, and I was like so happy. But I was so glad that I sent that letter to her, because who knows what she had to go through in that 6 months was just horrid. And so I'm sure there's a lot better rest of the stories than that. But the other one is from Sherry. Sherry sent my mom a letter about how great her son was. And she was actually talking about me. And my mom knows me too well. And you'd have to know my mom. She's a real pistol. But she said she got this letter, and it talks about, Peter's so great, he's doing such great things, from the universe. And my mom reaction was to say, oh, brother. But that was her way of, I could just tell it just really made her day. Anyway, she's on her last legs now too. So anyway, I would love to hear more of that stuff from all of you guys. This group has been so great for those kind of things. Yeah. And that's all I have to say about that.
Oh, Peter, thank you so much. And thanks for being with us. I think you have been with us since the very beginning. And I think it's time.
No. Since 22.
Oh, thank you, Rosemerry. You're our archivist this time around. Yes.
When did I start with this, Rosemerry? Did you say 22?
22, I think so, because that was Operation Thank You, which was the garbage can one.
Is that the garbage can one? That was, hold on, 22. I think it was the year before that. I think it was 21. I'm not going to. Everybody really cares about the stuff I know.
If the garbage can one was the first, then it was 22. But you could have been in 21.
Well,
I think the first one was Operation Finn.
Operation Finn. Yeah,
I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
Well, that was 21.
I think that's. Anyway.
Peter, I love that you brought that up, and I love to send, letters are my favorite things to send anonymously. And I have an ongoing birthday project that I send letters to strangers on my birthday. And I don't, like you, Peter, right? I don't put a return address, so, people don't know who they're from. But once in a while, I'll get some feedback. Like one time, someone had actually posted the letter on Facebook and said, they were having a really, really difficult time. They were very, very depressed, and had talked about how much that letter meant to them. And the person who had asked me to write the letter sent me that picture, and it just meant the world to me because, yeah, typically, right, we don't get the feedback, and that's part of it. But that was a very, very special moment for me to see, this one time the impact that it had. How about you, Rosemary? Do you have any stories of having gotten some
My
feedback?
I do know my mom has told me before. She said, I think I just got something from one of your secret agents. So
Oh,
I've heard about it secondhand through my mom. But no,
Well, what we send out comes back in different ways than we might expect to.
that's
Definitely.
that's for sure.
yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
I'm curious if ZenJen, either you or anyone else that's here, maybe someone who has never participated, if you do have any questions or thoughts, or we haven't yet announced, and we're going to be announcing the next mission on this call. So
Well, let's see. Do we have any questions, comments that anybody would like to ask? Share?
I see
Please
Anne.
raise if you can, that hand at the bottom in the bar at the bottom so we can see who actually is in line. But yeah, Ann Bliss, go ahead, hon.
You're on mute though, Anne.
Part of all the joy of all of this is the technology, right? Being here together.
It's a miracle.
And you should get a little message asking you to unmute. While Anne is unmuting, I was just going to give a quick, you can do it, Anne. We believe in you. You've got this.
Yeah.
While Anne is unmuting, I did want to respond to Carolyn, who asked, how is this similar or different from random acts of kindness? And to me, there's a couple of things that make it a little bit different, and for me, extra fun. One is every mission is based on one of Rosemary's poems. That to me is one of the most spectacular pieces of this, because I love that we're also surreptitiously, bringing poetry into the world in this fresh way. And so I think that's one of the biggest ways it's different. I think the other thing is that we're all operating under a theme together.
Yes.
So I'm not just, which is also fun, and I try to practice as much as I can doing anonymous kindness in the world, but it's so much more fun to do it with a group of people and
As
to
a
know,
community.
yes, as a community, right? And also, I've said this many times to my friends that I love that Rosemary used secret agent because to me, there's just an added playfulness. Like, naming things is super important. And I actually learned this from Rosemary from your TED Talk. You spoke about, there was a part in your TED Talk I always remember, which was, it's like the naming of things, the metaphor we give things, the language we use shapes our experience. And so it's very different if I'm just Sherry out in the world doing some surprise kindness for someone versus I'm a secret agent and I'm with Rosemary and all of these other beautiful secret agents, that it feels like I belong to something really cool. What do you think, Rosemary?
Yes, every single thing you just said. That was really well
Yes.
done. And Anne, I see you've unmuted.
I did manage it graciously. Thank you. Now, when you invited us to wave our hands if we'd been a secret agent before, I just put mine up automatically, but I realize now I shouldn't have done because this is the first time I've actually attended a mission in this sense, but I have been about kindness for a very large part of my life, really working out that that's actually the principle of the universe that we're guided by. And so I see it as being even, like this, we, in our everyday consciousness, we expect something to be returned, reciprocated. And the disappointment when that doesn't happen is only human. But I've learned that it's my relationship to this principle of kindness, a love, really, generative love, that I am guided under. So it's like, it is giving, and to people, even to people who won't receive it because they've got a barrier to love in some way. So it breaks your heart, but it's like, well, I'm this sense of continuing this mission of, for love's sake, in a way, And, you know, what it does come back, what you're talking about, serendipity, it just like the universe responds to that gift. And like it happened yesterday with someone I know who goes to a prayer group, and out of the blue, she just sent me the most, I mean, this is somebody I know, and so it's that wasn't unexpected, but she knows me well enough to know who I truly am. And that's what it was, the gift of receiving someone who can see in this world. We walk by things fast, we don't see, we don't look into someone, we don't see what's really happening. So there's a hurt in that. So when we see something and precious about someone, to say that, I think it waters the heart and is a salve on this very parched landscape that we live within. Anyway, I'm just delightful to meet all of you today, and particularly Rosemerry, whose poetry I do receive, as I enjoy writing poetry too, and yours speaks to me. I don't do a poem a day, but and I haven't actually, you know, it's funny, it's the first time I've been able to say thank you, because I don't get around to saying it on the email. But I feel very blessed to be now part of a collective engaged in this gift to each other and to the universe. So that's all I want to say. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, and you, just like you were saying, this idea of being seen, right? Of feeling seen by your friend. And you know, that was how this whole thing began, where I felt so seen by Sherry. That was really at the heart of our Operation Thank You, in which, you know, we were thinking of who's somebody who's changed your life, which could just even mean a kind word when you really needed it, or perhaps a role model. And in that one, we did end up writing these thank you letters anonymously, perhaps to the trash person, but also to spiritual teachers or dancers or authors, and to write them these anonymous letters saying, I see you, and what you do has changed me. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Carol?
Anne. I want to real quick get to Deborah asked, is it possible to be a secret agent if not on Facebook?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Rosemerry.
You go.
Oh, I love you.
Yes. Yes, you may. You do not have to be on Facebook, and all the information will be sent out tomorrow. All you got to do is go to one website, and you'll be able to sign up for all the information on the Secret Agents of Change. So absolutely do not have to be on Facebook, although there is a fun Facebook group. Okay.
Right. So just to
ahead.
clarify, we do all our communication via email. And we do have a lot of people who aren't on Facebook who then might email and say, hey, here's my mission that I just accomplished. If you want to post it, go ahead. And so we do it that way.
The only part that you need for Facebook is for the, you know, the saying this is what happened on my mission. So kind of for the bringing it all back and reporting back on your mission. And
Carol, yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. And I don't have a question, but like Anne, I raised my hand about Secret Agent of Change just because I've done anonymously, I've done kindnesses, sent things to people or left things for people, but never to strangers. And I guess I didn't really realize fully what tonight was about. I had no idea that you guys had this group. And I just became aware of, more aware of wonderful poets who are out there, including Rosemerry, a few years ago during the pandemic, when a good friend of mine who had moved out to Washington had told me of a writing teacher in California who does prompts for writing 3 times a week. And through that, I learned about Rosemary's poetry and James Cruz's poetry. And I only recently, Rosemerry, signed up for your Poem a Day because I imagine we all can relate to this. There's so much stuff. There's so much email. There's so much out there that sometimes I have to pare things down. but because ZenJen had recently brought James Cruz on to one of her events, and I'm part of a group with James, I learned about her for the first time. And so through her, I got the email, didn't read it too fully, but I said, oh, Rosemerry, I love Rosemerry poetry. So I wanted to sign on to that. And I think it's so fascinating the way things sort of one thing leads to another to another. I'm very intermittently on Facebook, but I like the idea very much of being able to participate in that or not participate in that. And I love the fact that you say your mission if you choose to accept it, so just to have learned that you guys have been doing this for 6 years, and it's just something I didn't even know existed, is something that makes me so grateful to my friend Nancy, who originally led me to Laurie Wagner, who led me to James, who led me to ZenJen. And my latest anonymous act of kindness was just today. In fact, I put a book in the post to that friend who had gotten me into the poetry writing in the first place. And I sent her a copy of the latest book that James Cruz and his husband, Brad Peacock, just came out with. And as a matter of fact, I have one of Rosemary's books here too that I was planning to send to another friend anonymously. So just the fact that there's so much out there that we don't know about, it makes it easier to remind ourselves that, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this world that has so much that isn't so good. So again, I just want to say thank you for what you've been doing and what you are doing. And I'm very grateful to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
What you said, Carol, is going to be, it'll really play out in our next mission, which we're not going to talk about much, but I just want you to know that you will be primed for mission legacy effect. So
Yeah, let's get Joanne here real quick.
well,
Joanne,
and
thank you,
Patricia
Carol.
had her hand up and then it came down. So maybe
Oh,
Patricia
sorry.
does she still want to say something?
Okay.
Yes. First of all, I apologize for not being face to face. I'm not in a place that I can do that right now. And I think it's
That's
so
okay.
important because one of the things I'm getting out of this is just the glittering energy that everybody is exuding, which is so completely delightful. And, it's not often in life that I feel tickled by something. And this whole thing is tickling me, which is, again, a complete delight. So I appreciate that. I have been part of a group called Card Angels of Connecticut, where we gather monthly and make cards. And there's one person who brings them to nursing homes and hospitals and just gives them out. So in that way, that's an anonymous, like, little gesture of caring and kindness to people that we don't know. But and that's very nourishing because we do that in community. And I really loved what Sherry said in distinguishing or talking about how you kind of get in. This is an enhanced version for me of the random acts of kindness because of everything that Sherry said. And it's so I think an important piece of this is how nourishing it is, how it will be for me as well to feel part of this group, to be tickled ongoingly by the fact of it, and just to, I guess that's it, to be that it is reciprocal, even if we never get feedback or see what the other person is. It is a reciprocal blessing, and that I appreciate so much. And I also wanted to just put out, because I've been getting something in my Facebook feed quite a bit, and it's a t-shirt that I think is hysterical. It's a t-shirt that written on the back of it says, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it. Lots of love, the person in front of you." So that kind of reminded me of this a little bit. So
Beautiful.
thank you. I can't wait to be part of it.
Yay. Beautiful. Let's have Joanne.
Yes,
Joanne.
I'm a Canadian, and you'll see where this is going. Windsor, Ontario, literally are neighbors to Detroit, Michigan. Like people have gone back and forth on that border for years, working, socializing, you name it. A few weeks ago on CBC, which is our national radio, um, they are doing random acts of kindness back and forth. Like, for example, somebody will go over to Windsor, buy a coffee, a lunch for an American that is in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and vice versa. And I just think it's just for me, I do a lot of yoga, and it's the power of mantra and light operating in those two places. And I suspect it's happening in many places in Canada that are so close and neighbors to US citizens. So to me, it was a very powerful act of kindness. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Great. That makes
Very
me
nice.
think, wouldn't it be fun to have some kind of an international mission sometime?
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun,
We need a
dun.
poem. We need
I
a
can help
poem,
with that.
Rosemary.
I can help with that. I can help with that. I can help with that. I do know that we have to keep timing in mind here this evening. So I want to ask you real quick, what do you think what do you think keeps people from stepping into kindness more often? And how can we gently shift that?
Oh,
Can I jump
Simple.
in, Rosemary?
sure.
Yeah,
You
both of you,
start.
either of you.
I think in my experience, we live in a very distracted world. And it's another reason why I'm so happy that we offer these missions, is because I feel as if when people pause, when we're asked to pause, whether it's a meditation or a conversation with a friend or a secret agent mission or church or whatever, we all, I think, are just inherently ready to give and ready to be kind. But I think that we need to pause from our distractions, and that also it really helps to have some parameters and to have an invitation. Rosemary?
And a role model. You know, I think it helps to have a role model for kindness. I don't know that all of us do, um, especially for these small acts of spontaneous and uh, perhaps secretive kindness that we've been talking about. So I think the more we can be role models or find role models for each other, I just know how inspired I am by our group in general. This is one of the most thrilling things about when we do the reporting back, is that there is that kind of sweet loop of, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that. So there is that inspirational piece. I think that's one of the other major thrills for me about this group.
Wonderful. Wow. I knew this hour would go fast. I did. I knew it would. Ladies, is there anything you'd like to add prior to us sharing your contact information?
And Sherry, you just want to say a little bit about when
I
our next mission is?
do. So this wasn't actually a secret agent mission. This was a sort of pre-mission, I don't know, hype, perhaps.
Rally.
Rally. So Rosemary, and I really want to invite all of you, whether you're currently secret agents or you're not, to come and participate in the next one is June 27th.
And I will put all this in the email tomorrow.
She will. And what I want to remind you, you don't have to be on our morning Zoom call when we reveal that mission, because actually we're revealing it to you now. However, those calls are super fun because like this, you get to see and hear from other people. So June 27th, ZenJen is going to so kindly send out how you get on our mailing list. We do all of it by email because not everybody's on Facebook. So don't worry about that. And I hope you'll come. Rosemary?
I will do my best to share it to everybody in this that's signed up for this. I'll also send a reminder closer to June 27th. Yes, Rosemary?
This is so much fun. Thank you, ZenJen. Thanks every single person who showed up for bringing your energy. And I just have seen the faces of so many people that I love and care about and that I'm grateful for in the world. I'm grateful for everyone who showed up, and please join us. We have
As am I. Yeah. Contact information for Rosemary. We can go to wordwoman@rosemary.com is her email. You can find her daily poems via her website, which is Woman, that's WORD woman.com. Social media by her name, Rosemerry Wahtola Trommer. She has a weekly podcast on the creative process called Emerging Form. Sherry, you can email at connect@simplycelebrate.net. Most social media is at Simply Celebrate. She's on Facebook and LinkedIn as Sherry Richert Belul. And you can find Secret Agents of Change in a private Facebook group. Just go to simplycelebrate.net, simplycelebrate.net. You can get on the email list for the Secret Agents of Change. Please remember to check out zenfulconversations.com to see what's going on, keep these conversations going and alive. Ladies, it's been a true joy to share this space with you. Thanks for reminding us that kindness doesn't need applause. It just needs our willingness. Everyone here and everyone listening, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad we're walking this path together. Maybe today you heard something that stirred you. Maybe remembered that even the smallest gesture can open a door, soften a moment, or change a life. And this is the invitation. Until next time, stay tender with yourself and deep gratitude. Namaste. Thanks so much for coming, everyone. Much love, ladies. Namaste.
Thank you, ZenJen. Thank you, Rosemary,
Bye.
everybody.